This is Chris Pedro. Like, subscribe to TNW Wrestling on YouTube. Subscribe to my other channel, World of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris Pedro. And follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll be down there in the description box. And I'm here to do my AEW Dynamite March 23rd, 2022 reviews. So here we go, discussing about Dynamite. Now we had the first match of the night that kicked off Dynamite. It was CM Punk versus Dax Harwood in a one-on-one match. Now, this is CM Punk's first match in about 2 weeks now since his match against MJF at Revolution and that dog collar match. So yeah, this is his first match back in 2 weeks. And it was a pretty good match. Now, when Dax Harwood was coming out, he told Cash Wheeler to go backstage. He didn't want him at ringside. But yeah, it was a pretty good match, and eventually down this match, Cash Wheeler actually came down to ringside at one point. Stayed there the whole time. But yeah, it was a pretty good match. It was a good one. It lasted about almost 15 minutes or something. So yeah, it was a good opening match. Dax was reversing a lot of CM Punk's moves. At the very ending of this match, we seen CM Punk try to hit the GTS onto Dax, and then Dax, when he got lifted off his shoulders, about to come down to the knee, Dax grabbed the knee, trips him down, and then locks on the sharpshooter onto Punk, and then Punk, of course, fighting out the sharpshooter by rolling through, and then he kicks Dax over him, and then locks on the Anaconda Vice, and it made Dax tap out. So yeah, CM Punk defeated Dax Harwood tonight in the one-on-one match. It was a pretty good opening match for tonight's Dynamite. It was a good one. So yeah, with that match, I'll give that match 2.5 stars. It was a really good match between those two guys. But yeah, after that, we seen JAS get interviewed backstage, and then Jericho was talking about the photo that he took with John Silver back in 05 or something. So yeah, that's what he was talking about. And then Daniel Garcia was like, well, we want to beat up the pro wrestlers tonight because we are sports entertainers. And they was mocking the fact that Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz wasn't there. So yeah, they was acting like they was around and they wasn't and all that stuff. So yeah, they was just making fun of the fact that they wasn't there. But yeah, but later on tonight we'll see Chris Jericho and Daniel Garcia versus John Silver and Alex Reynolds tonight in a tag team match. But up next we're going to see the Hardy Boys, Sting and Darby Allin versus the Butcher and the Blade and Private Party in a 8-man Texas Tornado tag team match up next on Dynamite. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, it was a 8-man Texas Tornado tag team match, and it was Jeff and Matt Hardy, the Hardys, teaming up with Sting and Darby Allin versus the Butcher and the Blade and Private Party in a 8-man Texas Tornado tag team match. And this match was pretty good. It was no disqualification and everything. Anything goes. At one point, we've seen the Butcher actually toss Darby Allin down some stairs and everything during this match. But at the ending of this match, we've seen, by the way, Andrade El Idolo and Jose, they didn't came to ringside. They came with Private Party and the Butcher and Blade to through the entrance and everything, but they pretty much went backstage. So yeah, they was not in this match at all. But yeah, it was, like I said, it was a really good match and everything. At the ending of this match, we seen pretty much Private Party hitting a double side effect onto Matt Hardy off the stage through some tables, laying him out. And then we seen Sting and Darby Allin beating down the Butcher and the Blade, laying both of them on tables. And then Jeff Hardy climbed up this ladder onto this platform, which is the picture that you're seeing right now. So yeah, he was up there, and he jumps off of there with a Swanton Bomb onto the Butcher and the Blade, laying both of them out and himself out as well. Sting then walks away from there, pretty much to go back to the ring and help Matt Hardy because he was getting beat up out there. And then Private Party at one point was trying to hit their tag team finish move on the Sting when Mark Quinn jumps up with the Hurricane Sting off the second turnbuckle. The Sting landed in, was trying to hit the Scorpion Death Drop onto Isaiah Cassidy, but he kept on falling and stuff. And people kept on I seen people online making fun about Sting, pretty much, botching that spot right there. But what can you do? He's in his 60s, like what, 63 or something like that. So yeah, the man's, he's up there in age, and people is pretty much making fun of the fact that he botched that. I don't get it. But yeah, but Sting still in his 60s, still freaking amazing. But yeah, like I said, he managed to get back up and he managed to hit the Scorpion Death Drop onto Isaiah Cassidy, and Matt Hardy hit the Twist of Fate on Mark Quinn at the same time. And then Matt Hardy went for the pin and pinned Mark Quinn for the 3 count. And yeah, the Hardys, Sting, and Darby Allin defeated the Butcher and the Blade and Private Party tonight in the 8-man Tornado tag team match. It was a pretty good match. With that match, I'll give it 3 stars as well. It was a pretty good match. Insane moves from Jeff Hardy doing that Swanton Bomb and stuff. But yeah, everything was pretty good. And then at one point we see FTR get an interview backstage, pretty much talking about the Ass Club and everything. Yeah, so yeah, he was talking about them, and yep, that's what happened there as well. But yep, up next we're going to see the Varsity Blondes versus Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson up next in the tag team match. So yeah, I will see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, it was a tag team match. It was Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley with William Regal, where he was at the commentary table actually, and they was taking on the team of Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison, the Varsity Blondes, in a tag team match. Now, Julia Hart was at ringside, but she was sitting on the ring steps, pretty much still playing off the storyline with her being traumatized by the House of Black and everything. So yeah, that's what she was doing, and this match was a pretty good one. But at the ending of this match, we seen Bryan Danielson hit that running knee onto Griff, and then we seen Jon Moxley hitting the paradigm shift onto Brian Pillman Jr., laying him out, and then Bryan Danielson goes over there, starts stomping on Pillman's face, and then Moxley was elbowing Griff Garrison in the face as well. But then Bryan Danielson then locked on the label lock onto Brian Pillman Jr., and at the same time we seen Jon Moxley locking on that chokehold onto Griff Garrison, making Griff tap out. So yeah, Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson defeated the Varsity Blondes tonight in a tag team match. That's what happened. It was an okay match. It was a pretty good match. I'll give it 2 stars. And then they cut a promo after the match ended. William Regal comes into the ring, and Jon Moxley was like, "Hey, if you want that seal of improvement from us, then come up and fight us and everything." So yeah, pretty much the gist of it. Looking for more competition. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good promo from Jon Moxley. It was a good one. But yeah, that's what happened. But up next we're going to see MJF on Dynamite. Speaking up next, and later on tonight we'll see Adam Cole versus Jay Lethal 1-on-1 later on tonight on Dynamite. And yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on AEW Dynamite. See you guys later until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, we had MJF come down to the ring, and he was with Shawn Spears. And, MJF was addressing a few things, talking about CM Punk and Wardlow. Now, he was talking about Wardlow first, talking about, how he made a promise to Wardlow that if he wins the TNT Championship, he'll let him keep it. But he said he couldn't get the job done last week. So yeah, that's what MJF was saying. But then he said he'll get to talk about Wardlow in a second, and that's when he was talking about CM Punk, and he was talking about how he has CM Punk beat at Revolution, just like how he beat him in Chicago and everything. That's what he was saying. And then he said he's down to have another match with CM Punk eventually down the road. So yeah, that's what MJF said. He said it could be anywhere, and he will still beat him. So yeah, that's what MJF was saying about CM Punk. But then he turns his attention back to Wardlow, talking about like, you told me to release you from the contract that I'm going to tell you. No. He said he's going to make his life a living hell. How Wardlow signed the deal with the devil and everything, and how he's going to put him on the cross, like Jesus and all that. So yeah, that's what MJF was saying, and yeah, he was talking a lot of crap about Wardlow, talking about like how you going to provide with your sick mother and all that now and everything. And he couldn't call him a pig, call him a little greedy pig and all that stuff. And then Wardlow had enough of it. He comes running down, but MJF had like security guards, blocking the ring. And then of course Wardlow starts beating down a few security guards. But then MJF called for more, and a bunch of them start holding Wardlow back. And then MJF looks at Wardlow. He goes like, "Did you forget? You ain't signed with AEW. You signed underneath me, and right now you're trespassing." So yeah, that's what MJF said. And he said, "Security, take him back." And yeah, you see Wardlow getting taken off and everything. So yeah, that's what happened there. And then MJF was like, "Now went in some rumors. The Pinnacle is not over, because next week we're going to get to the top, and FTR will be in the tag team match next week." So yeah, that's what MJF said. And then Shawn Spears say, yeah, the Pinnacle is always on top, and then that was the end of it. So yeah, it was a pretty good promo and stuff from MJF. Great one. But up next, we're going to see Adam Cole versus Jay Lethal one-on-one up next. And yeah, that match will be happening up next. And I forgot to mention, we had Trent Beretta and Wheeler Yuta backstage talking. And Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor was with them. And Trent looks at Yuta and says, "I never liked you, but these guys trained you and you was trying to portray them last week." And Wheeler was like, "Look, I'm not trying to portray anybody, but I'm not here to be best friends. I'm here to be a best wrestler." So yeah, that's what Wheeler Yuta said. He walked away. So yeah, that's what happened there. It looks like best friends kind of a little bit breaking apart now. So yep, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on AEW Dynamite. See you guys later until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, it was a one-on-one match. It was Adam Cole versus Jay Lethal one-on-one. Now Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish came down to the ringside, keep on interfering in this match. But at the ending of this match, we seen Jay Lethal hit a cutter onto Adam Cole, and then he goes and try to hit lethal injection onto Cole, but then Cole hits a super kick to him in the back of the head. And then after that, he climbs up the second turnbuckle, and then hits the Panama Sunrise onto Jay Lethal, pins him. Lethal barely kicked out at 2, but then Lethal started finally getting the advantage a little bit, coming back a little bit, rolls Cole up, trying to pin him, but then Red Dragon gets on the ring apron, distracting the referee. And Cole then kicks out, and then Jay Lethal then try to hit lethal injection again while the referee has back turn. And then Cole hits a low blow onto Lethal, and then hits the boom onto him, and then pins him for the 3 count. So yeah, Adam Cole defeated Jay Lethal tonight in a one-on-one match tonight on Dynamite. That's what happened. But then after the match, Cole gets a mic, and he starts talking, and he goes like, "Adam Page is not man enough to get face-to-face with me and my boys tonight." So yeah, that's what Adam Cole said. And then Adam Page actually came out, and then he gets a belt in his hands, so he starts whipping all 3 of them. But then Adam Cole hits a low blow onto him, and then in numbers game started catching up, all 3 of them beating him down. And then Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian Cage runs down, pretty much chasing Cole and Red Dragon out of the ring. And Adam Cole started walking off with the world title around his shoulders. So yeah, that's what happened. It was a pretty good match between Cole and Lethal. I'll give that match 2 stars. That's what I'll give it. It was a pretty good match. But yeah, still to come later on tonight on Dynamite, we'll see Chris Jericho and Daniel Garcia versus John Silver and Alex Reynolds tonight in a tag team match on Dynamite. So yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing happens on AEW Dynamite. See you guys later until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, we seen Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti come down to the ring, and they was pretty much start calling out Paige Van Zant and anybody else from that group, because they said how Sammy Guevara lost the TNT Championship a few weeks ago to Scorpio Sky, and then pretty much after the match and everything, they got beat down, him and Ty Conti. So yeah, they want revenge, and they're calling them out right now. And then say whoever wants to accept the challenge, come on out. And then we see the TNT champion Scorpio Sky, Dan Lambert, and Ethan Page come out to the ring. And Dan Lambert will say how he's the co-champion, the co-TNT champion. He got the other TNT championship around his waist. And, he starts talking. He said Paige Van Zant ain't on Dynamite tonight because her contract states that she will not be in a shitty town like they are in right now. So yeah, that's what Dan Lambert said. He said, well, if you do want to see her, you can ask your parents and stuff for some pocket change of $9.99, to go to her OnlyFans page. And you'd be wondering why Orange Cassidy always gets his hands in his pockets, which was a great line right there. I really like that. That was pretty funny. But then, he said, Dan Lambert looks at Scorpio and Ethan. He goes like, do y'all want to face him or what? That's up to y'all. And they said, nah, we all good. We ain't going to go face him. And then Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page walks to the back. Then we see Dan Lambert. He grabs the TNT Championship and he kisses it. And then Sammy Guevara looks at Dan Lambert. He goes like, apparently we live rent-free in your head. And, you just kissed the TNT Championship. And me and Ty done a lot of stuff on that TNT Championship. So yeah, it looks like we live in your mouth too. So yeah, that's what Sammy Guevara said. Pretty funny line right there. And yeah, Dan Lambert was like, oh, that's disgusting. And it starts running off. So yeah, pretty funny stuff. But yep, that's what happened right there. Pretty good segment. But up next, we'll see Layla Hirsch in action up next on Dynamite. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, it was a one-on-one match. It was Layla Hirsch versus Red Velvet in a one-on-one match. It was an okay match. During the match, before the match even started, Layla Hirsch knocked Red Velvet off the ring apron, beating her down outside the ring, and then Red Velvet started getting the upper hand and stuff, beating down Layla Hirsch outside the ring, throws her into the ring, gets in the ring herself. The match finally starts, and it was an okay match, but then at the ending of this match, we see Layla Hirsch get out the ring, and she grabs like a turnbuckle, and puts one of them in her trunks, and grabs another one, gets in the ring. Referee sees that exposed turnbuckle part, and then he takes out of her hands, and then started putting it away, and while he has back turned, she grabbed the one from her tights, and it hits Red Velvet upside the head, and then pins her for the 3 count. So yeah, Layla Hirsch defeated Red Velvet tonight in a one-on-one match. That's what happened. And then after the match, she started beating her down, lock on the cross arm breaker onto Red Velvet. Red Velvet starts tapping out, and then Chris Statlander comes running down to the ring, and she starts fighting Layla Hirsch, chasing her out of the ring. So yeah, that's what happened there. It was an okay match and everything. For that match, I would give it just a star. I'll just give it 1 star. But yeah, still to come later on tonight, we see Chris Jericho teaming up with Daniel Garcia versus John Silver and Alex Reynolds tonight in a tag team match in the main event. But up next, we're going to hear from Thunder Rosa on Dynamite. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, it was the main event. It was a tag team match. But before I talk about that tag team match, gotta talk about Thunder Rosa now. Thunder Rosa came out and she was talking about, about her win from last week when she defeated Britt Baker in that steel cage match to become an AEW Women's Champion. So yeah, that's what Thunder Rosa was saying. But then Vicky Guerrero comes out and interrupts her and talking about like Nyla Rose will become the new AEW Women's Champion. Then Nyla Rose attacks Thunder Rosa from behind, laying her out. And then we get to the match. It was the main event. It was Chris Jericho teaming up with Daniel Garcia, with the rest of JAS, Jake Hager, and 2.0, versus John Silver and Alex Runnels, with 10 and Alan Angels at ringside. And at one point during this match, we seen Alan Angels and 10 get kicked out for ringside. So yeah, that's what happened to them. But then at the very ending of this match, we seen 2.0 get on the ring apron, trying to distract John Silver, and John Silver knocked them both off the ring apron. He tries to hit a suicide dive onto Jake Hager while the referee had a back turn. And Jake Hager then slams John Silver outside the ring. And then Alex Runnels runs to the ropes, and he gets hit in the back with a baseball bat by Chris Jericho. And then that gave Daniel Garcia the chance to lock on the sharpshooter onto Alex Runnels and make him tap out. So yeah, Daniel Garcia and Chris Jericho defeated John Silver and Alex Runnels tonight in a tag team match. That's what happened. It was a pretty good match. I'll give the match 2 stars. That's what I'll give it. It was a pretty good tag team match. But yeah, like I said, pretty good tag team match. And for tonight's AEW Dynamite, I'll give it a out of 10. I'll give it 7 stars. That's what I'll give it. It was a pretty good show overall, but last week's show was way better and everything. This week's show, it was pretty good. Like I said, match of the night, I would say that it was that 8-man Texas Tornado tag team match. That was a match of the night. I liked the segment with MJF. That was a pretty good segment. The Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti segment was pretty funny. The match between Jay Lethal and Adam Cole was alright. Layla Hirsch versus Red Velvet was okay at best. CM Punk versus Dax Harwood was a pretty good match as well. And let's see, what else? I think that's it for the matches. But yeah, tonight's Dynamite was a pretty good show. But yeah, that has been my AEW Dynamite March 23rd, 2022 reviews. Like, subscribe to TNW Wrestling on YouTube. Subscribe to my other channel, World of Chris. And subscribe to this channel, Chris Videos. And follow me on Twitter, Instagram. And I'll be down there in the description box. And I'll see you guys later for this Friday's Friday Night SmackDown and AEW Rampage reviews this Friday night. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then.